My name was called, and no one stood up. Not my dad, not my mom, not even my brother. Everyone else had someone cheering. Phones out, smiles, applause. But my row, empty. I stood there on that stage, holding the award I worked years for, scanning the crowd like maybe I missed them. I didn't. They weren't there. And the worst part, they knew exactly what this moment meant to me, but they chose not to come. So I smiled, took the picture, shook hands, and walked off that stage pretending it didn't matter. But it did. It mattered more than anything. And what they didn't know was that years later, I wouldn't be the one waiting for them anymore. That night changed something in me. Not loudly, not dramatically, just permanently. I stopped expecting them to show up, because they never did. Growing up, I was always the extra one, not the problem child, not the favorite either, just there. My brother got the attention, the support, the resources. Help your brother, my dad would say. He needs it more. And I did, over and over again. Even when I needed help too. When I got into a top program for business and tech, they said, "That's nice." When I graduated top of my class, "Good job." When I landed my first big opportunity, "Don't mess it up." Everything I did was minimized, but I kept going because I had something they didn't see: drive, focus, and a very clear memory of that empty seat in the crowd. Years passed. I built quietly, started a small company. No investors at first, no safety net, just long nights and a lot of rejection. But slowly, it worked. Clients grew, revenue grew. Then came the moment, the one I never saw coming. A major deal, big enough to change everything. Overnight, my company wasn't small anymore. It was worth millions. Real numbers, real attention. And suddenly, people noticed. The article dropped a week later. My name, my company, my valuation, everywhere. That's when my phone lit up. Not from investors, not from clients, from him, my dad. Family dinner, PM, important discussion. Just like that. No congratulations. No, we're proud of you. Just a meeting. Like I was suddenly worth scheduling. I stared at the message for a long time, because part of me already knew what this was. But another part, the smaller, quieter part, still hoped. Maybe this was it. Maybe they finally saw me. So I replied, "Okay." When I walked into that house, nothing had changed. Same couch, same table, same feeling. Except this time, they all stood up, smiling, welcoming, like I'd always mattered. And that alone told me everything. "Look at you," my mom said, hugging me tighter than she ever had. My brother nodded. "Big deal now, huh?" My dad smiled. "Proud, or at least pretending to be." "We always knew you had it in you," he said. Always knew. That almost made me laugh. We sat down. Dinner was already set. Plates full. Conversation light. Too light. Like everyone was waiting for the real topic. And then, my dad cleared his throat. There it was. "So," he said, leaning forward, "this success, it's not just yours." I didn't react. Not yet. Because I needed to hear it. Fully, clearly. "Family helped you get here," he continued. "And now, it's time to support each other." Support each other. I looked at him, then at my brother, and suddenly, I understood exactly why I was invited. This wasn't about pride. This was about access. And I was about to remind them. They missed their chance. The room went quiet after he said it. Support each other. That phrase just hung there waiting for me to agree, to fall back into my old role. The one who gives, the one who shows up, the one who doesn't ask questions. I didn't speak right away. I just looked around the table, at the same people who couldn't show up for me, but showed up real fast when money did. "What does that mean exactly?" I asked calmly. My dad leaned back, like he'd been expecting that. "It means," he said, "your brother has some plans, business ideas. This could be a great opportunity for the whole family." Of course, my brother. I glanced at him. He avoided eye contact. Interesting, because suddenly, he didn't look so confident. "What kind of plans?" I asked. My dad waved his hand. "Startup ideas, investments. He just needs a push." A push. That word again. The same one they used my entire life. And I already knew what was coming next. "We were thinking," my mom added softly, "you could help fund it." There it was. Not a question. A decision. Already made. Just like always. I nodded slowly, letting the silence stretch. Because this moment, it mattered. Not for them. For me. You know what's interesting? I said finally. They all leaned in slightly. Curious. Hopeful. I smiled. The biggest moment of my life. I paused. Looked directly at my dad. You didn't come. His smile faded. You knew how important it was. I continued. I told you. I reminded you. I even saved you a seat. Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Good. But you didn't show up, I said. None of you did. My mom shifted in her chair. That was a long time ago. No, I said calmly. That was the moment I realized something. I leaned forward slightly. That I was on my own. My brother finally spoke. Okay. But what does that have to do with now? I looked at him. Everything. That moment, I said, is the reason there is a now. He frowned. Didn't get it. Of course he didn't. I built everything after that, I said. Without help. Without support. Without you. I let that sit. Then added, so no, this success isn't ours. My dad's expression hardened. You're being selfish. Selfish. I almost smiled, because that word used to control me. Not anymore. No, I said quietly. I'm being accurate. Silence again. No one rushed to fill it this time. I'm not funding anything, I continued. Not out of guilt. Not out of obligation. My mom looked hurt. My dad looked angry. My brother looked exposed. You missed the part where I needed a family, I said. Then I stood up, because I was done. You don't get to show up after the finish line and claim the race. No one stopped me. No one argued. Because deep down, they knew. I walked out of that house, the same way I walked off that stage years ago. But this time, I wasn't pretending it didn't matter. I just wasn't waiting anymore. Funny thing is, they thought success would bring me back to them. But all it did was show me exactly how far I'd already gone. So tell me, if you were in my place, would you have helped them? Or walked away just like I did?